Hello, good evening. You're watching Living with Olashade Ayeni, and today on the show we'll be talking about greed and its effect on our society. Greed is the intense desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food. It is an extreme urge by somebody to get more than he deserves or more than he needs. In explicit terms, greed is driven by self deprivation, and it's the constant need for the actor to always desire or work as much as possible to get what is scarce or unavailable. This stems basically from the fact that he needs a self-protection over something, or he has long been deprived of something, which makes it very, very pushy for him to want to get more than he deserves or more than he needs. So that is greed. Now, how do we liken it to the Nigerian society? We can liken greed to the Nigerian society in the fact that we have had leaders. We have had our doses of good leaders and we have had our doses of bad leaders. We have had good leaders who have selflessly served the nation, who have given all they had to make Nigeria a great nation. And we have had other bad eggs who do nothing but characterize everything called backwardness and shame. Now, what are we talking about? Greed basically is what I feel is wrong with the economic situation of this country. We all are shouting recession, recession, recession. I blame it on greed. I blame it on the greed of a few Nigerians who we have given the mandate to serve us and bring Nigeria to the promised land. But in turn, they won't do that. All they will do is see it as an avenue to enrich their pockets, their purse, their family, friends and colleagues. All they want to do is turn the Nigerian money, turn the federation account into their own personal use and for their own personal consumption. Now, we have heard of so many humongous amounts that are being siphoned from the federation's account into personal accounts. Take for instance, a few years ago, we heard about the money loot and scandal of the former Minister of Petroleum, Mrs. Alison Madueke Dezani. It was a very touchy thing because I am a woman and I felt that women in government should represent what womanhood is. A woman should espouse pity, help, mercy. But what we get in today's political milieu are a bunch of women who parade themselves as if they want the good of the nation. But what they're selling out, what their body languages and even the things they do are very much more terrible than what we expected. We have entrusted them with power and we have entrusted them with our rights to make Nigeria great. But when they get there, they get beclouded by their selfish interests, and all they want to do is enrich their purse so much more than what they need, more than what their children need, and they even siphon this wealth to the extent that the nation is ailing. Nigeria is very weak and sick of having to endure the mismanagement of funds by our political officers. Nigeria is sick. We're tired. Everybody, in fact, majority of the populace have to go out every day, work their ass out, and still get little or no return for it. Take a look at the government workers. We have so many people who have worked for the government for months now at a stretch without no pay. The economy is dying. The big businesses that we know are not blooming anymore. Some businesses are packing up every day, and this is attributed to greed. The greed of the Nigerian politician, the constant need and feeling to always deprive us of our joy in order to satisfy their own intentions, to satisfy their own desires. Now, I want us to understand that Nigeria has been suffering from this greedy attitude of politicians for a really long time. When a few years back we heard about the Patricia Ete scandal, she was a one-time Speaker of the House of Representatives. It was a money loot. It came to me as a shock, although I was very much younger than this, but it came to me as a shock because it was like the first time women were being represented. But what did we get? A woman in that capacity that could be involved in such a mess. It was painful. And then the future for the Nigerian woman in the political setting began to be gloomy. Now we are clamoring for 50-50% equality in the political arena. Basically, women are not doing up to expectations. Although, in utmost sincerity, we have women with caliber. We have women with so much strength and pride. We have women who have made us proud in all essences that you should call womanhood. But there are some bad eggs that you'll be ashamed to call yourself a woman because of them. And it is all greed. The constant need to get more of a scarce commodity and an unavailable commodity. Basically, before you are able to establish greed, it must be certain that that particular commodity that is being siphoned or that is being grossly packed to that person is very scarce. It may be wealth, which is monetary, it may be properties, it may be anything, and then it may be power, the constant need to acquire power, to stay in power, to protect oneself. We have seen presidents, we have seen even our governors who have finished their tenure and have not allowed other people to occupy political seats, and the constant need to be in power has pushed them to the National Assembly. That is greed. That is greed. Because basically we need government officials, people in government parastatals and institutions and corporate bodies who are willing to make Nigeria proud again. But these people see it as an avenue to loot us. And what are the consequences of their actions? The fact that social amenities are collapsing and crumbling. Social amenities are not seen as things that should be done normally for the society. We don't even, infrastructure wise, we're nowhere to be found. Now, to implement our budget, we have to scurry all around and lobby all around to get funds to implement our budget. And as if this is not enough, the National Assembly is not doing anything, is not trying as much as we think they would in the implementation of policies that will drive Nigeria forward. And it's all to their own personal gain. Now, in year 2017, we all thought it would get better. But surprisingly, the news had been filled with so much stories of money laundering. Monies that are so humongous to the extent that any ear that hears them would actually tingle. On February 3rd, 2017, $9.8 million and 74,000 pounds was recovered from the slums of Sabon Tasha in Kaduna State, and this money was said to belong to one Mr. Yakubu Andrew, a former managing director of NNPC, and he claimed that these monies were a gift from some certain persons. Even if you saved the world, come on, who would give you that colossal amount of money even if you saved the world? And he came out openly to say that by the time the case is over, the government will be giving him some compensation for the trouble he's been through. Such impunity in broad daylight. It's so sad. On March 13th, we also heard about 49 million naira being abandoned at the Kaduna International Airport. Obviously, the owner of that money must have escaped for fear of apprehension by the EFCC. And up till now, we don't know the owner of the money, 49 million naira. Is money that easy that our politicians will flaunt? Is money that easy? Proceeds of corruption are so rampant these days. Just April 7th, we heard about a certain 444 million naira that was supposed to be converted to hard currency, dollars to be precise, by a bureau de change in Victoria Island, Legico Shopping Mall, Victoria Island to be precise. And this was said to be owned by an unnamed politician who obviously will be keeping his head now and prefers to fulfill that fund for fear of being apprehended, so that he gets his freedom and liberty. And these things are done at the peril of the Nigerian citizenry. Over 170 million people are suffering every day, and some few people, some cabal, just hijacked the economy and they hoard money. No wonder there is so much scarcity of dollars, when these people do nothing but convert the Nigerian currency into hard currencies and keep them. It is so unfortunate that the Nigerian citizens painlessly every day, or should I say painfully every day, go out and work themselves out with little or no advantage to their side. Finally, we heard on April 12th, 2017, just a few days ago, that $43.4 million, 27,800 pounds sterling, and 23.1 million naira was found in a 2-bedroom flat in Osborne Towers, Ikoyi, Lagos. This sum of amount was alleged to belong to one Mrs. Esther Nnamdi Ogwe, who was a former group managing director of NNPC, as she was sacked along 3 other managing directors for the illegal use of some liters of petrol that was imported by NNPC downstream. Now tell me, if someone told me that she owns that money, would I want to doubt it? Her antecedents have spoken for her, and these politicians go about every day walking around with impunity, and they're being accepted back into the society as if they did no wrong to us. We're so quick to forget things as people. These people take us for granted, and all because of greed. Now we have seen the effects of greed on the society. We're shouting recession. Everybody's, trying to cut their coat according to their clothes. Everybody's trying to manage. Some who have had 3 square meals daily are not able to boast of 3 square meals again. Some eat 2 square meals two meals a day, just to make the daily food possible. So are we going to continue like this? There has to be a solution to this problem, and the change that we want to see in the world begins with us. It begins with me. It begins with you. Every human being has the capacity and tendency to be greedy. We all have the urge to get and acquire things for ourselves, more than we need, more than we even deserve. Why? Because you feel that tomorrow you may not be able to get hold of it again, so you're keeping them and hoarding them for times where those things are no longer available. So we have every tendency to be greedy. So we all are greedy. We all are victims of greed. We are we are all contributory to the fact that greed has eaten the society up. So how do we deal with this as a nation? We can deal with greed as a nation by trying to impute the spirit of trustworthiness, integrity, and truthfulness in the generations coming. In the educational system, let us try to imbibe the culture of trustworthiness. When you go out every day, know that anything that is not yours is not yours. And the constant need to deprive the owner of it should really be painful to you. You should feel it as a human being. We need to be sensitive about certain things that hurt the next person. If you have that kind of feeling, it will be very difficult for you to take more than you deserve, to take more than it is due to you. So what I feel can help the situation of this country is when all hands are on deck. And what do I mean by all hands are on deck? The change we want to see in the world, the change we want to see in our governments, the change we want to see in our political leaders begin with us, in the little things that we do in our homes, in the little things that we do in our homes. When we are entrusted with little things, let us not betray the trust of people who have entrusted it into our hands. Let us try as much as possible to live beyond expectations, and let integrity be our watchword. If you have an integrity and you know that, oh, I don't want my name to be tainted, I don't want you to see me in the capacity of a thief, of a rogue, of a greedy person, of somebody who would deprive you of your joy, then that means that you're checking yourself as an individual. So we need to check ourselves as individuals. We have a lot to do on ourselves. Let he who has no sin be the first to cast the stone. Before you can cast a stone at our politicians, before you can say that these people are corrupt, these people have been, putting us through sufferings and all that, have you checked yourself? If you were put in that position or in that political appointment, would you do better than they did? Would you also join to siphon the nation's wealth, the commonwealth of the nation, into your own personal purse? Those are the questions you should ask yourself, and you need to be sincere about it. Once you're able to get an answer to it, then I'm very sure that you're on your way to recovery. So the change we want to see up there begins with us. As parents, we need to teach our children the art of truthfulness, trustworthiness, integrity, being responsible for our actions. We need to do that. And then it is advised that in our educational system, let that culture be infused into it. The culture to always look out for another person, the culture not to hurt another person, because in these little ways we be able to correct the nation, so that when we're handed bigger appointments and bigger positions, we can manage them selflessly in a way that Nigeria will be built again, because as it is totally wrecked. Well, these are my thoughts. Shade Ayeni's thoughts anyway. Thanks for watching Living with Shade, and till we meet tomorrow, God willing. God bless you. Bye.